Think about this. What is one goal that you've had for at least a year that has still not happened? Think about the goals that keep following you from planner to planner, month to month. Maybe it's losing weight, maybe it's saving money, waking up earlier, reading more. Whatever it is, have you been lacking in motivation, or have you been lacking in a system that helps you to achieve that goal? If you think about that one goal that you've wanted for a long time, go ahead and put it in the chat and ask yourself, what is it that's keeping you from following through consistently? You can put that in the chat too. There's no judgment. Most of us at least have one goal that has become a recurring guest star for us. And today we're not going to shame ourselves into trying harder. We're going to look at the structure underneath the goal and make it easier to actually live. And because we're focusing on becoming the person we want to be and putting the systems in place, we are going to achieve our goals naturally. Welcome back to Morning Reset, part of Vitality Social Network. My name is Melon, and this is where we take personal growth ideas and turn them into something practical enough that we can use in real life. And we start first thing in the morning before the day gets noisy and busy, and life naturally pulls us away from being able to focus on the things that we're trying to create and accomplish for ourselves. In the first episode, we talked about identity, and that every action you take is basically a little vote for the person that you're becoming, because we're trying to just get 1% better every single day. In episode 2, we broke down the habit loop and the 4 laws of behavioral change. And today we're going to connect all of those ideas, because knowing what a habit does or is, or what our goal is, does not automatically mean that we're just going to do it. A lot of us know exactly what we should do, and we're motivated to do it. But the problem is that we keep expecting motivation to carry the whole goal or the whole refrigerator up the stairs by itself, right? Motivation alone is not enough. And so by the end of the stream, you'll know how to turn your vague goal into a repeatable system, and also how you can arrange your environment so the better choice will take a lot less effort. We talked about yesterday how if you had to wake up in the morning and decide every single micro step you had to take, stand up, turn the lights on, get out of the bed, brush your teeth, your brain would be exhausted before you even start your day. So we want to try to make accomplishing our goals as simple and easy as possible. Now, if you're here, I would love for you to go ahead and type in the chat, whether that's an emoji or your goal specifically. I want to be able to help you actually achieve the outcome that you're reaching for. I know for me personally, I have a goal of actually waking up early every single day and starting my day with intention by joining this live stream group so that we can all motivate each other and keep each other accountable. In the past, I've had goals that sound like, I want to lose weight, I want to save money, I want to start a business, I want to start a YouTube channel, I want to start a live streaming network, a community of live streamers, and I have been working towards putting the systems in place that help make those goals a little bit easier. And they're valid goals. I mean, goals give us direction, but they don't tell us what exactly the day is going to look like. And, the structure of our day is usually where a goal either becomes real or it quietly evaporates. Another thing you can ask yourself is, have you ever tried to start on this goal before? And if you did, what was it that knocked you off track? Was it time? Was it energy? Were you forgetful? Were you stressed? Were you a perfectionist? Was it inconvenient? What was it that kept you from ultimately accomplishing the goal? So again, you're not just telling me your goal, but what is the obstacle that keeps repeating? It will help you to look for those patterns, because the repeating obstacles usually need another structural answer, not just another motivational speech. If you imagine two people that both want to exercise 3 times a week, They have the exact same goal. But person A says, I'm going to work out whenever I feel motivated. However, their shoes are in the closet, their gym bag is empty, and every single day requires a fresh decision-making process about what workout they're going to do, when they're going to do it, and what it takes to do it. Now, if you think about person B says, I'm going to work out on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6:30. I have my clothes already packed into my gym bag. My workout is selected. Maybe they have an app that sets up their workout routine for them, and their water bottle or pre-workout is filled up the night before. So again, the goal is identical. What's different is the system and the environment that person B has set up. They're not necessarily automatically a more disciplined human or more capable of achieving their goals, but the setup simply asks fewer questions in the moment of action, makes it easier for them to repeatedly do the thing that it takes to accomplish that goal. These are ideas that come from a book I've been reading called Atomic Habits. It's a #1 bestseller. I'm sure a lot of you have picked it up when you're trying to work on creating better habits in your life. I've noticed for myself that I've had this book for a couple of years now, and I definitely believe in the philosophy, but what has been missing is actually putting the systems and the actions in place to apply that to my life. So I'm hoping that we'll all be able to work on that together. We don't have to, shame ourselves into what it took place that caused us to fail and kept us from our goals. It's really not a character issue. We can just start inspecting the system and the environment that could be setting us up for success. So we have our whiteboard here. If you're following along, you're also more than welcome to grab a piece of paper and write this for yourself. So we have the goal, the system, and the environment. So under the goal, this is your direction. Where are you trying to head? What are you trying to accomplish? Your system is your repeatable process. These are the action steps that you're going to take every single day in order to accomplish that. And then under environment, this is what is setting you up for success. This is what makes it easier, or in some cases, harder, right? So if your goal is, I want to read 12 books, then a system could sound like, I'm going to read for 10 minutes right after I make my morning drink. So you pair it with a process that is already in place and already comes naturally for you. And that way, it'll prompt you automatically to take that step. Hi, thanks for joining the chat. I appreciate you being here and commenting. Thank you so much. I would love to hear what your goal is so we can work on that together at the end of the stream, or we can also tailor our future conversations to what you're trying to accomplish. For me, I'm just trying to have a better morning routine in general. I'm the kind of person that jumps up and immediately throws my clothes on and runs out the door. I start my day kind of stressed out. So, my goal is, my direction is to become a morning person. And so now my process is, instead of just running right to work, I'm actually pausing. My husband's helping me with making my morning drink, so I have that burst of energy, and then I'm actually going to go live and share these conversations with you guys as a way of holding myself accountable. So thanks for being here. I'm a little tired, but I'm happy to be here. You let me know how you're doing. I appreciate you joining along. All right, so let's continue the conversation. Another goal might be, I want to save money. So that's the direction we're heading. Your process might be, or your system might be, $50 are going to automatically transfer every payday. So we've actually automated that. We've made it even easier for us to naturally save money. And we've put in place that trigger where we don't even have to think about it, but it's going to help us systematically work towards the goal that we're trying to accomplish. So right now, we're just focused on those two pieces of the puzzle, our goal and our system. The goal is the destination on the map. The system is the road you repeatedly drive. So, the more you stare at the destination, it doesn't necessarily move the car, get you moving in that direction, right? And so today's job is just the next repetition of the system. That means your system needs to describe a behavior, not a wish. It should answer the question, what will I do? When will I do it? Where will I do it? How often will I do it? So I want you to think about if you do have a goal in place, maybe you also want to become a live streamer. So that's your goal. Now we need to think about the specific action that you're going to take and when. So, the action you could take could be to join our Discord community. I'm trying to help a few people become live streamers. It could be to go ahead and schedule out your lives every single day at the time you plan to go live. I did that this morning. I pre-scheduled my weekday lives at 8:30, and then as much as I wanted to sleep in today, I was thinking, well, what are the chances that somebody actually shows up and is expecting me to continue the conversation from yesterday? I better not let them down because I already scheduled it. I'm going to just push myself to show up today and follow through. So that's an example of the system that I have in place that made it easier for me, and I automated that system. And then for my environment, what can make it easier for me to accomplish that? I also rallied my community. So my Discord community, my husband, I let them know, my sister, that this is a goal I'm trying to accomplish. Like, please show up for me, be in the chat, ask me, remind me when it's happening, don't let me down. So my husband got up with me and he made me a coffee and he made a little joke like, are you going to go back to sleep today? And I felt like if I said yes, I would be letting everybody down. So so I had to follow through. So if you're thinking about the goal that you're trying to accomplish, the next step is for you to think about your system. And you can put that in the chat too. So if you're thinking I'm going to eat healthier or I'm going to work harder, I'm going to wake up earlier, those are still just goals, maybe disguised a little bit, but it's still like that wish of what you're trying to accomplish. And so you have to think a little bit deeper about like, what am I going to eat? When am I going to eat it? Who is going to help me make that easier? So that's something that'd be worth sharing, and I would love to consider your ideas and so that we can help each other. And just ask yourself again, is it visible? Is it specific? On our last conversation, we talked about how we can make it easier by whether it's visible or invisible. That makes a huge difference. If there's a cue or a schedule, is it realistic on a normal day? You don't want to give yourself like a 12-step process that feels impossible to sustain every single day. You need it to be really repeatable, really easy to continue. So the next thing to consider is, even if we have a system and a process, even a good system can struggle if the environment is constantly pulling it in the opposite direction. And your environment is not just the room. It includes what you can see, what's within reach, what's already prepared for you, what sends you notifications or is automated, how many steps are between you and the behavior. That's the kind of concept that you need to think about. So I'm going to draw two different rooms so you can follow along with me. This is room A. Okay, we have the person's bed. We have maybe like a little side table here. Following along? Okay, so room A, there's like laundry all over the floor and the trash can's full. We don't know where our gym bag or our shoes are. The bed's all messy. So it's already setting us up to be a little bit overwhelmed when we wake up. We're having to look around and think, where are my clothes? I have to pick them up. I have to put them in the washing machine. And then once they're dry, then I can pack my gym bag. Like that's 10 more steps than we need to take in order to accomplish our goal. Whereas if we have person B's room, there's their bed and their shoes are laid out and their gym bag is packed and ready for the day and their side table already has their water bottle set out on it because they're trying to drink more water and their alarm clock is set. This person's environment is setting it up to make that desired habit easier. So ultimately, we're just naturally going to be the person that we need to be in order to accomplish that goal of getting to the gym and working out and losing weight. And person B still has choices to make, but the helpful choices are more obvious and require less effort. They've already made some of those decisions last night to set themselves up for success, so they don't have to think like, I gotta go get the water out of the kitchen and pour my cup and bring it back. Nope, they just look over and it's right there already made. So we often think that we are making everyday choices consciously, but in reality, our surroundings are constantly whispering little suggestions. The phone on the desk next to us or next to us on the pillow says, check me. And the book that's inside the drawer says nothing because it's out of sight, out of mind. So if you want to think about, just that little example, if you hold your phone beside you versus placing it in the entirely different room or completely out of sight, if it lights up beside me, how much effort does that take to check the phone? Almost none. It's right here. And so right away, my day is going to be completely driven by the notifications on my phone. Whereas if I put it across the room, maybe that only adds a couple of seconds of friction, but now if I want to check it, it takes deliberate decision. And if you're just like a little bit lazy like me, maybe you're thinking, oh, I gotta actually get up. I have to stand. I have to walk across the room. Every micro decision takes energy. So maybe if the journal is beside me, I'll be more likely to grab that and write down my thoughts for the day instead of getting up to check my phone and make a to-do list there and then being distracted by all of my notifications for the day. I wonder if that ever happens to any of you, if you're thinking about I'm not going to doom scroll first thing in the morning, and then you wake up and before you even remember you set that goal, you're on Instagram for 30 minutes. Happens to me all the time. So if it happens to you, no shame. But it's just worth thinking about. My values, my motivation, my goal did not change, but the environment caused a change in the behavior that I want to have in place. So that's what we need to do intentionally. We need to lower the friction for the good habits and raise the friction for the habits that we want less of. So we can think about that a little bit too. So for our good habits, we're thinking about things like we want it to be visible, automated. We could consider maybe having things like prepared in advance. So prepped, it could be close to us, maybe more convenient, those kind of things. Versus if we're thinking about the habits that we want to break, bad habits, unhealthy habits maybe, or maybe habits that just simply aren't productive for meeting our goal. We don't have to shame the habit either. But if we want to stop doing it, if we want to break the habit, then it helps it to be invisible or delayed or inconvenient. Just a little bit, further away, out of sight, out of mind, harder to accomplish naturally. That's what we're trying to keep in mind. So I would love to hear some examples of goals that you're trying to accomplish, and then that way we can think through together what steps it'll take in order to accomplish that. So someone put in our group chat that their goal is to become a graphic designer and to work on their business so that ultimately they can work for themselves and not have to work a 9 to 5 where, they're relying on somebody else's business for income, which is an amazing goal. But like we started off the top saying, is that goal an actionable process, or is it a wish? So if I want to embody what it looks like to be a graphic designer owning my own business, I have to think about what steps someone who already lives that life would take on a regular basis. They're probably practicing their skill every single day. They have a set time to check their emails and create their to-do list and actually work on projects that have come in that other people are hoping to pay them for. So again, they've dedicated time and energy to a system where they can actually act on the steps that they need to in order to reach that goal. Maybe you have just a simple goal of you want to spend less money. So it would help you to unsubscribe for anything that's automated. So you have to take that choice consciously every time that money comes out of your bank. You could even remove saved cards from your what's saved on your phone wallet or what's saved on your computer. So that way, when you're online shopping, just a little bit harder to automatically press that purchase button with that saved card. You actually have to go get the card from your wallet, pull it out, type the numbers, think about it, and maybe that delay will let you think about it long enough to make another decision. So that's an example of how you can break a bad habit. But again, if we're thinking about maybe saving more money, then we can consider a timing and a structure. So every time we get paid on Friday at 10 a.m., I'm going to pull $25 out of my bank and I'm going to put it in a shoebox in the closet where I forget about it completely. And if I do that every week where it's out of sight, out of mind, and I have that habit in place I don't have to think about, then after a month, I'll have $100 saved up. Or if you saved $100 a week, after a month, I'll have $400 saved up. So that can add up consistently, and so it helps you to really think about, not how I become more disciplined, but how can I arrange the space so that the right action becomes the path of least resistance. So whether you're arranging your schedule or your time or your space, it's just worth thinking about how you can become the person you want to be and set yourself up for success. And again, we're just trying to get 1% better every single day. That's the concept from the book. If we do that, then by the end of a year, we'll be 37 times better than when we started. Oh, hi. Hi, Evan. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you being here. Hope you're doing well. I'm a little sleepy this morning, but after taking the time to talk for 30 minutes and drink my coffee, I'm feeling a little bit better. Oh, you're a nursing student. Oh, wow. When I went to school, there was a nursing program, and some of my good friends were nursing students, and it requires quite a lot of time and attention and energy. That is a very dedicated path, but very noble too, because then you're going to have that kind of energy forever spent towards helping people. And if you weren't there, especially if you think about COVID times, many people would not have made it if we did not have dedicated nurses. So thank you for what you're doing. We really appreciate that. Oh, and you're working on your project. Great. Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying you appreciate the coaching. That means a lot to me, because that's my goal, is not to just put out I don't know, kind of like an idea, right? Again, back to not just a goal, a wish that we're trying to accomplish, but specifically the steps that we're taking to make it a reality. And your project is about the demonstration actually needed to do it to pass. Yeah, great. So it sounds like that's right in line with what you're trying to accomplish. I will say, I am taking some of these concepts from a book that I've been working on called The Atomic Habits, but I realized I've had that book in my library for 2-3 years or something like that, and I read it, I get the concepts, but I needed to actually take time to break it down into bite-sized pieces, practice it every day, have a strategy and a system, have people that are doing the same thing so we can work on it together. Like, I know all of these things, I understand why they're important, but we got to make it real life, and having each other really helps, I think. So yeah, I would love for any of you to join me each day as you're working on these things. We do have a group chat. I made a Discord for. Originally, it started off as people that are interested in becoming live streamers and teaching things the way that I am, but we also have a dedicated thread for like our morning group, people that are working on productivity. And so, if you ever want to share your goals or what you're working on there, we absolutely love to support each other. And then, yeah, so if you want to be there, if you want to join the chat every day, I'm trying to start doing this every morning. I'm in Eastern time, so I started at 8:30 my time. But we have this first block where I'm just trying to teach the concept and work through it. And then if people want to share like what they're working on, what they need help with, then I definitely want to take the back half of the stream just to chat with you guys and hang out and see how I can help. Oh yeah, that would be awesome. I would love it if you got your other nursing students, and then we can hear a little bit more about the demonstration and project that you're working on, because it sounds like it's right in line with what we're trying to talk about. That you don't just have like the big picture concept you're trying to accomplish, but you actually have to put structure and systems in place. So let's see here. Yeah, it does look like, I was just making sure I did put the group chat link into the description. So if you want to join that, you can, or if you just want to subscribe and be here every morning, I'm going to keep doing this for everybody. I set it up. My goal is that eventually I will have a successful live streaming YouTube network with myself running the morning show and the PM show. And then during the day, I have a couple other friends that are going to do some other live shows. So all day we can be teaching each other and learning things that we're passionate about. And so it started for me thinking, all right, well, if I want to actually accomplish that reality, I got to find some people, make the group chat, schedule out my lives every day so that I'm held accountable a little bit. It's like having an appointment that I have to show up for because people are expecting me. I can't just not follow through. So that's a little bit about how I'm trying to accomplish my goals. I also have just a couple other examples here that I figured maybe would be worth sharing. So one other example would be reading more. So a lot of people think, in their mind, like I'm gonna learn that skill. I'm gonna read more books. They're just setting that goal, but they have to think about how they're actually going to put the system in place. So, and it has to be like bite size, attainable. So if you already have a strategy in place, like I drink coffee every morning, like that's my habit. I don't even have to think about it, it just happens. Then a way you can set your environment up for success is, have your coffee station already set up, and then put your book right next to it so it's there. And then every morning you have that automated habit to go grab your coffee and make it, and then you're going to read 5 pages of your book while you drink your coffee. So the environment is automatically set up for success, and then you have that system in place that makes it a little bit easier to achieve naturally. So that's the concept for today. It's really just about how you can make it a little bit easier for you to achieve your goals by building the system or setting up your environment for success. I don't want to, we don't need to rehash it out a little bit further. I think you guys are tracking what I'm saying. We did start this conversation the other day, so there's a few other lives if you didn't get a chance to watch them, if you want to check those out and learn those concepts too. And then the plan is that tomorrow we're going to focus on the 2-minute process, basically how we can turn that goal into something that is really bite-sized. It makes it almost impossible not to achieve our goals. And that we'll also talk through some examples of what it looks like and how we achieve that together. And I have like a lot of books on this subject, so I'll probably pull out a few other concepts as well so we can build it up and have more strategies in place. So If you're interested in participating in that conversation, then again, please like, subscribe, join along. Love to have you there. But this is all that we're putting on focus on today, so you can get back to your project that you're working on for school, or having just a great day in general, whatever it is that you're working on. Honestly, the fact that you already joined this live shows that you're in the right frame of mind of thinking, how can you switch your own habits to be more productive, to be more driven, to work towards the goals that you're trying to accomplish. So give yourself a pat on the back. You don't need to feel motivated every day. You just need to show up for yourself every day and take those bite-sized steps that help, provide evidence, prove to yourself or prove to that little voice in the back of your head that's saying, I can't do this or it's too hard, that you can do it and you are showing up for yourself every single day. So you can consider how maybe you want to apply this to your goals today. What small system you're going to change, or what little switch in your environment you're going to change that helps set yourself up for success. And then I will see you tomorrow for our 2-minute rule and continuing the morning reset conversation. So thank you all for joining today. I really appreciate you being here, being in the chat. It means a lot to me. And I hope that you